rain had been relentless, pounding against the old windows of the countryside cabin where I had come to escape the chaos of the city. I thought solitude would heal me, that being alone among the trees and the whispering wind would calm my mind. But the first night, I realized how wrong I had been. Shadows moved differently here. The flicker of candlelight didn't just illuminate, they revealed. I had arrived with a sense of freedom, a backpack filled with notebooks and a camera, hoping to capture the raw beauty of the forest, but the forest had its own plans. On the first day, I noticed small oddities, footprints in the mud that weren't mine, the faint echo of a voice calling my name, and the old rocking chair in the corner of the cabin, moving ever so slightly, though no one sat in it. I laughed it off, convincing myself it was my imagination. After all, horror movies had taught me that isolation tricks the mind, and I prided myself on being rational. The second day brought unease I couldn't shake. As I wandered near the overgrown path behind the cabin, I discovered a clearing where the trees bent unnaturally, almost as if they were bowing to something unseen. In the center lay a circle of stones, old and blackened, like remnants of a forgotten ritual. I felt drawn toward it, though my instinct screamed to run. When I stepped inside, a chill ran through me, my breath visible even under the sun. I heard whispers, soft, urgent, unintelligible, but compelling, as if urging me to kneel, to speak, to surrender. My camera slipped from my hand, the lens pointing at the sky, and I realized something was wrong. The lens reflected not me, but a shadow standing just behind me. I spun around. Nothing. Only the trees, their leaves rustling in a wind I couldn't feel. That night, sleep was a stranger. Every creak of the cabin, every groan of the old timber, sounded like footsteps approaching. By the third day, I understood the forest didn't want me there, it wanted something from me. I woke to a strange sunlight filtering through the windows, almost golden, almost unreal. I felt watched. I wandered again, this time toward a stream I had passed the previous day. The water was unnaturally still and reflected not the sky above but faces. Faces twisted in fear and anguish, eyes wide, mouths open in silent screams. My reflection merged with theirs, and a cold hand of panic gripped my chest. I wanted to turn back, but the path behind me seemed to have disappeared, replaced by thick, crawling fog that pressed against my skin like icy fingers. The whispers were louder now, forming words I could understand. Join us on the third day. Panic drove me to run. The forest now alive, shifting, closing in. Branches scraped my arms, thorns tore at my clothes, yet I couldn't escape the clearing. The stones from before now glowed faintly, symbols etched into them pulsing like veins. And there, in the center, a figure emerged. She was cloaked in tattered black, her hair falling over her face, but I recognized her immediately. It was me, or a version of me, twisted, eyes hollow, mouth sewn shut. She raised a hand, beckoning, and I realized the whispers were coming from her. I tried to scream, but my voice failed. The shadow version of me smiled, a cruel, knowing curl of lips, and I felt my body moving toward her despite every protest of my mind. The forest bent reality. Time lost meaning. I stumbled, fell, and when I looked up, the cabin was gone, replaced by a void filled with the echoing cries of those who had come before. The shadow me was closer, merging with me, seeping into my skin, whispering secrets that didn't belong to me. Memories that weren't mine flooded my mind. Others who had arrived, who had vanished, leaving only shadows behind. My will screamed, fight it, but my body obeyed her. I fell to the ground, the stones beneath me thrumming, vibrating through bone and marrow. The whispers became screams. On the third day, we take, and you will give. And then silence. I woke, or thought I did. On the forest floor, my backpack gone, my camera smashed, the clearing empty. The sun had vanished, replaced by a dim, perpetual twilight. The trees swayed as if breathing, and I realized the forest itself was alive, watching. My reflection in a small pool showed my face, but my eyes were different. Deep, endless, haunted. And I understood. I had survived, but not unchanged. Something had taken root inside me, a shadow I could neither expel nor embrace. It whispered now, always, urging me toward the darkness, toward the unknown, toward the other side of the third day. As night fell, the wind carried voices, and I saw movement at the edges of my vision. I was not alone, and perhaps never had been. The forest had claimed me, but not entirely. A fragment of my mind remained, observing, remembering, terrified yet alive. I stumbled back toward where I thought the cabin should be, but the path twisted endlessly. Every attempt to leave led me back to the stone circle, the place where the shadow waited. And I knew, with dreadful certainty, that the third day was not a day on the calendar. It was a state, a trap, an eternal loop. On the third day, they come, and you belong to them. By the time the fourth day, or what I perceived as the fourth, dawned, I had learned the rules. Move slowly. Speak softly. Do not look directly at the shadows. Yet every instinct in me wanted to flee. I saw the faint glow of eyes among the trees, faces that shifted and melted like smoke. The whispers became urgent, insistent. You cannot leave. You never left. Join us. My hands shook as I picked up a broken branch, trying to ward off the invisible, to make a line between me and the inevitable. But it was useless. The shadows flowed around it, through it, as if it were nothing. Hours, days, minutes, time fractured. I saw myself reflected in every shadow, in every glint of water, in the dark windows of the long-abandoned cabins hidden deeper in the woods. Each reflection was a warning, a temptation, a promise. And as the horizon darkened into an unnatural night, I felt it, the pull, inexorable, a tendril of cold wrapping around my heart, whispering the final truth. The forest did not consume you entirely. It only invited your surrender, your agreement. And I felt my resistance crumble. On the third day, I finally understood. I did not fight, and I did not run. I knelt in the stone circle, head bowed, and let the whispers flow through me. I saw the faces of those who had come before, trapped like me, some screaming, some smiling in madness. And I knew the horror was not just survival, it was the becoming. A new shadow formed behind me, and as I rose, I looked into my own hollow eyes, and for the first time, I saw the other me smiling back. The forest exhaled, the wind carried the whispers away, and I was no longer just human. The cabin, the clearing, the path, all illusions now, layered over a reality I could barely grasp. And yet, as I moved through the woods, a part of me still remembered the girl who had arrived alone, seeking solitude, believing she could escape. That girl was gone. What remained was something else, something patient, something eternal. And I knew the truth. On the third day, everyone comes to meet themselves, and some never return as they were.